I've held on to a tradition for the past few years, which is simply, taking out time at the beginning of the year, basically the month of January, to prepare. I call it preparation because, towards the end of the year, we are all kind of carried away by the celebration, and which is good. I mean, it's exciting to feel like we are closing the chapter of the year, closing that chapter, and super excited to begin a new one. And it can be very tricky because what happens is that we really don't know how we just get into motion into the new year. I can also be very excited, And so what happened to me this year felt like what has been happening to me before these years that I have practiced this simple habit of just, coming to myself in solitude and praying and seeking clarity, which I enjoy doing. But I will also be honest enough to tell you that this is also one of the toughest things I have had to do, and I'll explain further. If you notice, I said prepare instead of a beginning or a start of something new, because now I understand, or I am learning, that sometimes all it takes, I'll give an example for a book because I am a writer, so that's the first example that comes to mind. All it takes for a book to be whole, to be complete, is maybe a rewrite of a chapter, revisiting a chapter, or maybe writing a new chapter. But that doesn't mean that you're writing the whole book, to make it complete. It doesn't mean that what you have written before is useless. It's just that it didn't feel complete because some pieces were missing. So maybe that's all it takes. And that is the reason why I come back to myself, because yes, like I said, how we get carried away. We want to make New Year's resolution, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I still make New Year's resolutions. Some I try to keep and some I hardly keep. And I have also noticed the difference between when I just start my year with saying, these are my resolutions and this is what I'm going to do, compared to when I really feel grounded, like now. So I'm making this video in the midst of my planning for the year, in the midst of this preparation for the journey ahead, because I know that when I start, I probably wouldn't have the time to make this video. And I also just feel like when it's out, I hope that it encourages anyone, because it's really never too late to feel grounded. And this is one of the lessons that I'm learning from this moment that I stay with myself, in solitude. I mean, not completely by myself, because I'm a mom, I'm in a big family, so I don't have that luxury. I would have loved to, but I try as much as possible to just stay away from the noise of the media, because this is also a period where a lot of information is being shared. What to do, what not to do, plan with me, do these things. I mean, if that rocks your boat, that's fine. But I kind of felt like it was too much this year. So I thought that I would pass, the usual January taking out time by myself. So of course, I continued my life the way it was going. And I think it was the third day or second day into January. I can't really remember. And I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I said to her, I don't feel like we transitioned from that last year to this year. She said, oh, you're saying the same thing I felt, but I feel better because I am driving to work today. So it kind of made me feel like I'm starting something new. I didn't feel that way. Now, maybe because the daycare or the creche was not opened and my son has been home with me, but I personally didn't feel like a break happened for, to cross the next chapter. I didn't feel that way. And that was the moment it clicked. I was sharing something on my Instagram story, and I thought to myself, Angel, you can tell yourself all the lies because of fear. And that big fear was, fear of missing out, the FOMO. I felt like I had started to gain clarity on the kind of content I wanted to share on my Instagram. you know, that authentic part of me. I wanted it to be seen. And I felt like this is the moment everyone is watching. So you can't be out of social media. This is the time people are seeking information. So you have to put out content. And I had a lot of content to put out, and I was also consuming a lot of information which I didn't think was good for my mind. I needed a renewing. I needed a rejuvenating. I needed, you know, to come empty, and that is really the basis of what I do. So I have made a video last year about the luxury of solitude, because it is such a luxury. If you have time, what you feel like, what makes you feel like you are losing time, in essence you are gaining time. No one knows or can predict what the year will bring. We never know. You can pray about it, you can have faith about it, you can believe it. You can even manifest, you know, affirm these things, hoping that they will manifest, but you're not sure what the year will bring. And that is the mystery of life, because, I mean, if we knew what will happen in the course of the year, then life will be a fixed match, right? Because of that uncertainty, and it is not fear, it is just human to be uncertain. I come grounded. I want to start the year grounded, you know, feeling like I have been deeply rooted. I have emptied myself from the exhaustion. Exhaustion, is that a word? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But, you know, I kind of feel that we must have been exhausted from the year. 365 days, you know, 12 months of probably repetition, trying and failing, progress, even growth. We need a pause to process growth, you know, to walk growth, to stay where we have grown into. So that is the reason why I come to feel grounded. And I really hope that this video helps someone if you are confused about the whole information that is out there, resolutions and planning of the year. I am planning now, so there's nothing wrong with planning. I'm making the planning, I'm doing everything. But I felt the subtle pressure initially to make that vision board, to write everything down. This is what I want. So on the 31st, I wrote nothing. I was watching Netflix with my partner. We just, you know, at 12 o'clock said the Happy New Year, prayed and everything. But I didn't feel that something has paused and something has continued. And I knew that I needed the break. So I didn't even write any goal. You know how they do that thing. It's also very Christian and very Nigerian to be in church on the 31st and start to write your goals. And I didn't write nothing. I just started to, you know, create content. And the day that I logged off Instagram, that morning, I made a reel. I was here in the morning by myself. I just felt the need to disappear and just be by myself and pray. And I was like, something doesn't feel right. And those words that I put on the text of that reels came to me that morning. And so when I started to repeat those words to myself, it now felt true to me. I was now living my truth, that I have to make space for the new. And sometimes it's not a whole new thing that might happen. It is sometimes the decayed roots that needs to be uprooted. It is sometimes, like I said, rewriting that chapter. It is sometimes preparing yourself for the amazing thing that would happen, or for the challenges, who knows? But there is not a year, and I say this honestly and confidently because I have worked this work and I know that this is what works for me. So again, do what works for you. I say this honestly from my heart. I remember 2018 when I was grieving, and before that happened to me in the middle of the year in June, that year was the year I started to practice this whole take the first 21 days or 30 days to pray and fast. And sometimes it's also, if I will be honest, out of, you know, dieting. I just want to have a clean body and all of that. I didn't really take it serious, but I remember taking notes that year. And I remember I started my year in February. I started the next month, February. Everything was good. Everything was going good until when it happened in June and I was devastated. I didn't even know how to carry on. But like I said, I was grounded. I was intentional that year, but I didn't know what to expect. I had to refer back to that month of January to be able to go on. I can't even explain how much that month of January helped me. So I know firsthand that this works for me, and this is my method. This is the only way I can, refill that pouring into, new wine into the old doesn't really work anymore for me. And even if it's growth that is going to happen to you this year, even if your progress is going to skyrocket and the world will see it, if you listen to a few, for example, artists that became so famous all of a sudden, they tell you that if they are being honest, they don't know how to go on with it. Apart from being appreciative that, okay, their life has turned out the way they want to, it's all a learning process. And I'm also a firm believer of, learning in the process. So what I'm doing doesn't mean that it will open my eyes to know what is going to happen in the coming month. Absolutely far from it. I just come empty. I come to release. I come before God to pray, and I come before God to release myself. And I'm also saying to myself, I don't know. So prepare me. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to go in unprepared. I just want to know that no matter what happens, I feel grounded and I have something to return to. And, sometimes I also hear in my spirit to redo what I have done this January. Like last year, I had to take a break in November. I'm like, what? So normally I start to take this break after Christmas, but last year November I'm like, why are you doing this? And so I had to come back again and do the same solitude thing, pray, fast. And I tell you what, December was my best month yet. And I'm sure for the people who know what I'm talking about. So, well, it is that I hosted my first poetry and tea evening. And I must say that is one of the best things that has happened to me, really, in my entire life. And also for a few of the people who were here. I mean, for everyone, we still talk about this thing. I felt like I gained a family. I didn't want to share a lot on my social media because, I don't know, I just wanted to hold on to the experience. And it has opened my eyes to really know what it feels like to work fully in purpose. So I'm really grateful for that experience. And a lot of things that happened that day wouldn't have been clear if I didn't, go and seek clarity. So sometimes it doesn't make sense. It feels also like you're missing out. It feels like everybody's doing something. When I was deleting my social media app, when I was deleting Instagram, I was so angry at myself. I'm like, why are you doing this? Are you sure? I was trying to talk myself out of it. So I reinstalled the app. I was like, are you sure you're not just running away because you're not sure about the content? Are you sure this? Are you sure about that? But I know now that I should be where I am. And everything that is for me would wait. And I don't feel better than anyone who is not doing this. No, I actually feel like I don't know, coming to stillness in humility that, okay, I don't know. And I accept that I don't know. I just want to be better, or I want to feel prepared for the better things to come. If it starts to feel like a pressure, if it starts to feel like you need to perform for an audience, and you don't feel it deep down, something is wrong, right? Because if we listen, we know when it's not right. We know when it's not right. And the only way to listen is to come in stillness, and however it works for you. But this is the way that I can listen because I'm constantly around noise. So my stillness is super, super important to me. And that's the only way I get answers. And honestly, sometimes I can't come here and lie that every time I come in fasting or every time I do my solitude thing, I practice the solitude thing, that I get answers immediately. No. Sometimes it gets clear later. Sometimes it's a word that I receive and later it gets clearer. But in that moment, it just feels almost draining. And that was why at the beginning I said it's not also, all the way good. I'm not enjoying not eating all the time. I'm not going to lie and pretend like I do. I'm not enjoying not being out with friends I've gotten a lot of invitation at the beginning of the year, and I know I have to turn it down because I don't want the noise. It's the same thing, you know. If you are someone who at the beginning of the year you don't feel the need to perform and you're so pressured, I would advise that you take time to yourself, even if it's for one day. Take time away from the usual. So I'm not saying run away, I'm not saying disappear, I'm just saying take time away from the usual and do the unusual. And I bet you, I assure you, you are going to get a different result. You may not get answers because I'm not going to lie to you or promise you, but you would feel ready. You would feel like, okay, just go away from the noise and say, I need answers. If you're a believer, you pray. If you are not, I don't know how you connect to your higher self, but just know that you have to go away from the usual. You have to do something out of the ordinary to be like extraordinary, or how do they say it? You have to do something different to expect a different result, right? So Happy New Year. I didn't even say this, and this is really bad of me. So this is a very Nigerian thing. Actually a very African thing to do. So even if you're seeing the person for the first time in June or March, we still say Happy New Year, because I mean it's like welcoming the person into a new phase of their life. So Happy New Year, my beautiful listeners, viewers, my family, my friends here on this platform. I really appreciate you all. I hope this is recording because I'm recording with my phone, so you might have to excuse the quality. I don't know how it looks. I can't see myself. I'm just recording in faith. I hope that is working. Anyway, thanks for staying with me today. See you in my next vlogs, because I will be making vlogs. Bye. Happy New Year.